so hard it's frustrating. The next ship to sail. Ceres, do you have some time to talk? That I do. I'd like to gather everyone in Dawn's Respite and together assess the situation in which we find ourselves. Everybody's here. Let us take stock of the facts, shall we? The crisis at hand began with the sudden appearance of ominous towers in a multitude of locations throughout the world. We have since learned that said structures were brought into being by an organization known as the Telophoroi. Telophoroi's stated purpose is to recreate the final days of eons past, an apocalyptic event that would result in the destruction of all we hold dear. Already have these towers of theirs been the cause of untold suffering. Countless innocents kidnapped and imprisoned, their faith perverted for primal summonings. And unless we find a way to deal with the corruptive aura surrounding the spires, we can't even get close enough to rescue anyone. Those shielded with the blessing of light seem able to resist being tempered, at least. But after what happened to Arenvald and Fordola, we need to be very, very careful about how we proceed. Yet, while these threats close to home are of paramount concern, we mustn't lose sight of the situation in Garlemald. As you know, the Telophoroi are under the leadership of Fandaniel, one other delightful fellow, Xenos Yai Galvis, crown prince and our dear friend. To date, he's reclaimed his old body, murdered Emperor Varys, and plunged Garlemald into an even deeper pit of chaos. The capital has probably seen the worst of it. For a good while there, it saw the bloodiest fighting in the War of Succession, that has since changed, and in troubling ways. During our reconnaissance, the air was not once rent by the barking of cannons or the cries of discord. It was an eerie fog of silence which did blanket that ruined city. The inhabitants appeared to have been tempered, with nary a word spoken did they labor to transform the palace into a soaring edifice born of nightmares. If they were indeed made thralls, it's safe to assume that these events, too, were orchestrated by the Telophoroi. An army of primals is awful enough, but in light of recent developments, I fear it is only the prelude to an even greater catastrophe. We need to devise a means to counter this threat, quickly, before our allies are overwhelmed. We will find a way in Sharlayan, I'm sure of it. Master Fortuno's comments regarding the final days were curious to say the least. The forum knows more than it is letting on. Sorry to interrupt. It's the Tara. We just received word from Mistress Cryo. She says that arrangements for your visit have been finalized. You're to head to Limsa Lominsa and board the next ship bound for Sharlayan. And on arrival, present yourselves as associates of the students of Baldessian, to assist with the Order's restoration. Oh, the music! Oh, the music! The arrangements may be settled, but what are your thoughts? But what of your thoughts? They must race at the prospect of returning home after so long. I am eager to see it, of course. Of course, we should set off at once. Gotta go, my friend is calling me and wants to hop on. Sorry for only being here for a little bit. That's fine. What's your game? Go on and have fun. I'll accompany you to the docks. You need at least one person there to wave and cry and wish you a safe journey. Oh, the music! Oh my god! Oh, the quest accepted music? Oh my god! Look at everybody near Tataru. The ship in Sharlayan should be pulling in port soon. So please follow me and have all your luggage close at hand. Jeez. Everybody's around Tataru. Oh my. Everybody's here.
They've almost finished loading our cargo. We should be ready to depart right on schedule.
Excellent. 'Tis nice to have a smooth beginning to one's journey, at the very least.
It's funny. Master Louis Soir came here on a ship very much like this one. And now, years later, the street urchin he befriended that day is bound for his mentor's homeland. With his mentor's grandchildren, no less.
Aye. 'Tis upon reflection that every twist of time's river and fate's whims are brought into sharp relief. Thou hast matured much in the intervening years. Wert thou not caught attempting to relieve Master Louis Soir of his purse scant moments after he made landfall upon this dock?
Oh, really? Now that's a tale I'd like to hear.
Will this be your first visit to Sharlayan, Sir Estinian? Sir Estinian?
Are we strangers newly met? Why this stiff formality?
I, merely meant it as a professional courtesy, since we are now colleagues in an official sense.
I'd rather you dispense with the sirs, especially in private company. Or I'll be forced to respond in kind, little Lord Alphino.
You've made your point, Estinian. Painfully well.
Better.
Are you all right, Tataru? You seem positively distraught.
Distraught? Me? Don't be silly. I think it's lovely that they get to see their homeland. It's just, we're trying to thwart the schemes of an army hellbent on destroying the world. And once again, I have to stay behind and worry that this is the last time I'll get to see my friends.
Bring them back safe and sound, I promise.
I'll hold you to that.
Ah, good. You're still here.
Hori! Coultine! What brings you all this way?
We're to assist the Maelstrom and the Kobolds with a lunar primal operation, so we thought we'd see you off before heading to the tower. Flamine and the others wish you all a safe journey, and promise that they'll look after things here until you return. We will too, of course. Aye, we, your fellow Scions of the Seventh Dawn, will do our part to ensure the end of the world won't happen on our watch.
We're set to sail! All aboard for Sharlayan!
God, I wonder how long this is gonna be.
It's time.
Then we must delay no longer. We will contact you the moment we learn aught of value. Wish us luck.
Have a safe journey, and please, please, be careful.
And so you venture forth unto the unknown.
Oh,
A fate beyond the horizon that cannot be divined. A future undefined and in flux. In uncertain times, naught but the simplest words of wisdom will suffice. That which lives is destined to die. Love leads to loss. Every beginning has an end. Treasure every moment, every step of your descent.
oh God.
And there, in the depths where souls and stars rest, find your truth.
Oh, Sharlayan, are we gonna have any problems on our way? It's all smooth sailing.
Here. Feel. Think.
The day has barely dawned, my fellow earlier riser. Though we're hardly alone in that. Envious of those still sleeping soundly, no doubt. Called out to you, you say? I've heard nothing myself. In any case, I dare say the sea air will do you good. Why not join the others on deck? Sharlayan should be coming into view at any moment.
Song's a little bit weird to hear. Right here? I like the song, but who are you?
My voice yet reaches you. I am glad.
Alright.
Hear, feel, think. And thus do we meet face to face at last. My warrior of light, guided by the crystal.
Why now, Heidelin? Why? Yeah, why is she just showing up now? Why is she able to make a body now? I guess.
After your sojourn in the First, I believe you have your answer.
Oh shit. Stuff.
You have gained an understanding of what I truly am, what Heidelin has always been, a primal. Zodiac was created to forestall the apocalypse which threatened the ancient world, and I was brought forth to bind him. Yet 7 times now, those who would orchestrate a return to that bygone era have rejoined a shard to the god I had sundered. The greater his strength grows, the swifter does mine own diminish. The power to draw your mind into the rift betwixt is no longer mine to wield. Yet though it taxes me sorely, I dare not leave these words unsaid. Even bereft of my guidance, you and your companions have accepted the burden of this star's troubled past. A conjunction has begun to form, an intertwining of your time and mine. Wheels shudder and turn. Conflict looms. Monumental, which will decide the fate of this world and all life upon it. When you truly understand what is at stake, and your journey has prepared you to surmount the insurmountable, then shall I honor the promise made in another time, another age.
Cast your peepers to the fore, folks. Sharlayan's just over yonder.
I will not keep you further. Your traveler's heart must yearn to behold this unfamiliar land. We shall meet again, and soon.
Oh, they're awake.
Oh, what a fine morning. Oh, still a bit stiff though.
And a good morning to you too. Taken a look at the island already?
Not yet.
Then let's go. Let's go. Might still be room in the prow if we're lucky.
Music.
Ah, the sleepers have arisen. There she is. Good old Sharlayan.
Oh, I see it.
Oh ho.
Home. Home at last. Well, maybe not in Father's eyes, but we'll manage on our own, if we must.
You do know you're not alone in this, don't you?
Indeed. 'Tis as Sir Estinian saith. Forget not the comrades who boarded this ship at your side, I prithee.
Thank you, my friends. We are ever grateful for your steadfast support.
A Upon arrival, we will be disembarking into the heart of Sharlayan proper. There is no greater concentration of wisdom in all the world. I am confident that somewhere within that center of knowledge and learning, we will find the answers we seek.
We're gonna get the title. Oh, there's the moon. Oh. Oh my god.
Sharlayan, the solitary island nation of the northern seas. Where under the watchful gaze of Thaliak, patron deity of scholars, academics hoard all manner of knowledge and secrets. Once, they deigned to accept foreign students into a distant colony maintained in the Dravanian hinterlands. How swiftly they abandoned it once the first Garlean boot set hostile foot on Alamegan soil. So averse to the prosecution of war, these men of wisdom, your would-be allies.
The northern empty, old Sharlayan.
I thought they'd never let us off the ship. What's next then? Entry applications?
Hopefully they find no cause to deny us.
Hasn't Sharlayan all but severed relations with foreign powers? Those of us without direct ties, myself included, may be refused outright.
'Tis true that, as a nation, Sharlayan only forms trade agreements with a select few neutral countries. But from a practical standpoint, an island cannot afford to be overly strict with its borders, especially not if that island's people are wholly devoted to the accumulation of knowledge. If one submits the proper paperwork, with satisfactory evidence of identity and intent, then foreigners may be granted entry.
May.
Of course, it gets stuck on that.
Right. So let us be absolutely clear on these points before we proceed. The immigration officer will ask for your affiliation and your purpose of visit. Considering Sharlayan's views on intervention, I strongly suggest we avoid any mention of the Scions. Kral has laid the groundwork for us to act as associates of the students of Baldessian, and our ostensible reason for being here is to aid in their order's restoration. Grahatir, it might expedite our progress should an actual student be seen at the head of our little group. Would you mind leading the way?
Of course. The immigration offices were this way, as I recall. Shall we?
Right, our first mission is to file paperwork.
Greetings. We've just arrived and are eager to make our way into the city. Would you be so kind as to process our entry applications?
Certainly. I see by your mark you are an Archon.
I am. Grahatir of the Students of Baldessian at your service. I was assigned to an Eorzean survey team, but have returned to assist with the reformation of my order. My associates here will provide additional support.
Very good. I have paperwork detailing your group and its scheduled arrival for today. And it seems some few of your companions are also Archons. If you'll step forward, we can process those applications first.
Ishtola rule.
Oh, we can hear all their full names?
See how it glows? That list is etherically linked with a citizen registry kept in the main repository.
I've confirmed your status as Archons and amended your travel records accordingly. Welcome home. Now, who do we have here?
Alphino Leveilleur.
And Alizé Leveilleur.
Your applications have also been approved. Having said that, the streets are abuzz with talk of how House Leveilleur's lord disowned his young progeny. And while such personal circumstances constitute no reason to deny you entry, I urge you to avoid exacerbating your present situation. Times are quite troubled enough already.
Yeah, the world's ending.
We shall keep that in mind.
These last two are not Sharlayan natives, but you will find their credentials are in order. An application was made in advance.
Tie me up.
Name and occupation?
It was Sarah Serene, an adventurer by trade.
An adventurer. Well, I suppose that is considered a valid calling in your native Eorzea, and it does indeed match the profile provided. You may enter. And you, sir?
Estinian Valinor, formerly of the Order of the Knights Dragoon in Ishgard.
Formally, at least. And what, pray tell, is your profession now?
He coulda. He doesn't know what's. He could just say adventure also, right?
If you'll allow me.
Hell.
My associate is a mercenary, hired for his strength at arms. Surely you are aware of the dangers we often face on our forays into the wilderness.
Mistress Baldessian, if you insist on sponsoring his entry, then so be it. But while I appreciate that desperate times call for desperate measures, I find your choice of company concerning. Be advised that even a single misstep may have severe repercussions for your organization.
I have every confidence in my chosen company, dear and trusted comrades that they are. But I thank you for your concern.
Getting out of a funk on that one.
It is good to see you.
Likewise. Long voyage notwithstanding, you will seem none the worse for wear. There is much to discuss, but this is hardly the place. Let's be on our way, shall we? Oh! Welcome, friends, to Sharlayan.
As your mercenary, I should hope my welcome includes a generous salary.
Well, I had to say something, Sir Taciturn.
Oh, we get to move around. Oh, God. Look at this place. Gotta leave battle on just in case. I don't want anybody boiling. Just in case. Oh, damn. Whoa! Weapon coffer. Ah! I'm lagging a little bit. Because of all the people. Let's see. Use. This is even better than what I got. Let's. It is. Got 515, 490. Oh, I gotta remove the Heaven's Eye. The Savage Might materia. Oh, there you go. Oh, oh my god, look at that thing. Big. Right then. Start getting geared shit. What? I thought to launch directly into an explanation of what I've learned and how we might proceed. But this is Sarah's and Estienne's first time in Sharlayan. For the rest of you, a homecoming that was long overdue. You must have places you wish to visit and people you're dying to see. Therefore, I propose we postpone our agenda so that you all may have sufficient time to recover from your journey and get your bearings in the city. Once you've settled in, we can reconvene at the Baldessian Annex. How does that sound? That's a fine suggestion. We may not be welcome at the Levier estate as such, but I should like to nose around the neighborhood all the same. Equally untethered, as it were, there is no particular place that my kin call home. Still, I will not pass up the opportunity to reacquaint myself with the city. Likewise, a quick tour of our old haunts might even yield some useful gossip. The annex was west of the Aetheryte Plaza, wasn't it? Join you there anon. Yes, we'll see you there. Do have places I would remiss in not visiting forthwith. By thy leave. What of you, Estinian? My services as a guide are yours for the asking. That won't be necessary. Until we reconvene, I prefer to wander as the wind takes me. Speak in higher voice. But I could... Oh. Well, Raha? Like to join us then? Been gone for quite a while, and this would be the perfect way to refresh those dusty old memories of yours. Oh, of course, if you will have me. Come, Sarah's. Sharlayan awaits. The map. Oh, babe. Right here, yeah, there. Yeah. It's actually everybody's leaving like room. Look at that. Going like from farther away. After you, my friend, I am more than content to follow your lead. He is now accompanying you. Keep him at your side in order to proceed with the quest subject. You can leave Grahatia behind by entering a different area, or by putting too much distance between you. You can also speak with Grahatia and select the option to part ways. Wish to have Grahatia accompany you again? Return and speak with him at location. While Grahatia is accompanying you, next try speak with Kryl. Oh my god! All set, then let us be on our way. First stop, amazingly enough, will be the last stand. It's a cafe on the west side of the harbor. Kryl is also now accompanying you. Lead your 2 companions to the last stand and speak with Kryl at the designated location. While they are accompanied, you may encounter conversation points. Wait, additional topics of discussion. Enter the glowing area and speak with your quest companions to initiate these bonus conversations. Go exploring your surroundings together. Oh, you get more stuff to talk about? So up there, like, where we have to. Oh, look, wait, there's something back here. About to miss up some extra dialogue. This place is called the Peristyle, and it is the first stop for cargo unloaded at the docks. You'll find the usual necessities for daily living and other imports vital to running an island nation, but also supplies that further Sharlayan's pursuit of knowledge, namely large quantities of books, specimens, and samples. Sorting these stacks certainly seems to keep the attendant busy. With all the unusual wares coming and going at all hours, I expect the assistance of an intrepid adventurer would be highly appreciated. I see no reason why you couldn't undertake any task with which pique your interest. You have been cleared by the immigration officials, after all. I look forward to the day your name is celebrated in Sharlayan, same way it is in Eorzea. The same thing? Yeah. If I just talk to them. Given the crowd's help in reacquainting myself with this place, it's almost as if I'm seeing it with new eyes. You are. Come on, let's head to the cafe. It may not seem so at a glance, but the last stand is actually a very important part of the city. It's so cool that they actually follow you. Right. The giant statue. That is a sight one could hardly forget. I can't even look at it. The great statue of Thaliak. As a student of Baldesion, I was usually quartered on the Isle of Val, but I would gaze upon the scholar's wise features every time I returned by ship to the city. This path leading out towards the sea is known as the Thaliak Stoa, so named for the statue of the scholar which stands at its end. As you know, the Sharlayan people prize the accumulation of wisdom above all else. Thus, when Thaliak was chosen as our patron deity, it was more a matter of pragmatism than belief, an alignment of principles, as it were. They may have honored him with a rather impressive sculpture, yes, but our faith is not so restrictive as that of, say, the Ishgardians. Individual Sharlayans can and do worship the divinities of their choosing. What the fuck is this? Oh, it's the Reaper shit. And here we are, the last stand. I may have mentioned this before, but although our research into nutrition and food preparation is quite extensive, the average Sharlayan tends to regard seasoning and flavor with a certain indifference. How can I put this? The food is bland. As encapsulated by our infamous Archon loaf, the prevailing sentiment towards cuisine is dietary value first, and taste a distant second. There was one pupil at the studium, however, who could stomach the school's insipid meals no longer, would quit his lessons and poured all his savings into building a proper eatery. And so, the last stand came to be. It is, as the name implies, the sole dedicated outpost of fine dining in Sharlayan, one and only bastion of the culinary arts in an isle of otherwise mediocre fare. I seem to recall their burger being hailed as one of the most impressive items on the menu, but I ever had the pleasure of eating one myself. Because you were a typical Sharlayan when it came to cheap and convenient raha, but surely Tataru has since taught you how to appreciate a well-prepared dish. We should all stop in when time permits, sample the cafe's delights. So we press on. The stairs on the side of the cafe there will take us up to the Aetheryte Plaza. The thingamajiggy over here to the left. The next shot. Now the Ethernet, the shell. It's right. An unusual shape, isn't it? I assure you, however, that it's a perfectly functioning aetheryte. Remember to attune yourself before we move on. Now, being the diligent tour guide that I am, I should make mention of the Confluence, a research facility located on this very plaza. Its much vaunted discoveries are the reason Sharlayan stands at the forefront of teleportation technology. In deciphering the underlying principles of elegant aetherites, it allows us to understand and reconstruct what was essentially a lost art. Now we go to our next destination. Our path leads northeast to the Agora, Sharlayan's largest market. Oh god. Already? What did you talk about? Oh wait, there's a bunch of places to talk. Can't miss out on extra dialogue. Speaking of aetherites, those teleportation fees do add up after a while, which is why I tended to rely on the far cheaper ferry service. I was pleasantly surprised when Mr. Tataru informed me that the Scions are reimbursed for transportation costs as part of our duties, but I find old habits hard to break. That, and I'd rather not be bothered filling out the necessary paperwork. That's the entrance to the Confluence. I have no doubt their expertise will prove useful at some point, so I suggest you remember the way here. Ooh, one dish. You mind if I browse the shelves for a moment? There might be some hidden gems I've yet to read. Only a moment? How optimistic. Free to browse all you like, but we won't wait around for you. Perhaps I'll return later then. Like the bookworm. Discuss the bookstall. These little open-air bookstores are so uniquely Sharlayan, I'd always thought them a common sight while I visited other nations. Welcome to the Agora, where you can find wares made in Sharlayan, as well as a wide selection of imported goods. He actually used to sell questionable prototypes from the various research institutes, but I think that practice has thankfully died out, for the most part. Otherwise, I can think of no better place to stock up for the next big adventure. Am I overselling it? On a more serious note, the next stop on our tour is one which has particular relevance to our ultimate purpose here. Let's head back to the Aetherite Plaza. Follow the path north and climb the stairs up to that imposing building at the very top. Any more talking points? I don't think there's any more talking points. Oh wait, there's one right here. These little decorative features are typical of Sharlayan architecture. Aside from the research wing, our headquarters on the Isle of Val were rather simple and rustic by comparison. I just clicked on Raha again here. This is the Nymphium, an area dedicated to the blessings of water. For Sharlayans, water represents more than life-sustaining liquid. It is a reminder of the great flood which precipitated the birth of our nation. was a symbol of the knowledge which flows from Thaliak's divine ewer. This is the reason he's seen abundance of fountains throughout the city, and a propensity for utilizing water as a decorative feature in our architecture. That's so. I could hear the music. Oh, it's so good. This grand structure before you is the Rostra. The name refers to the original public platform erected here, on which a forum of elected representatives would deliver orations and debate policy. Although the stage has since evolved into council chambers, the nature of the forum and the duties of its members remain largely unchanged. May I warn you, Raha? You seem awfully distracted. My apologies. From here, one can see the entire city spread out below. Vista put me in mind of my arrival in the first. Those who had gathered at the Crystal Tower asked me how they might go about building a new home. Eventually, my answers were all inspired by my knowledge of the finest settlement I could think of, the great city of Sharlayan. And bit by bit, those few buildings grew into a town, community, Vistarium. Echo. Feel free to come up here whenever you wish. I don't think the counselors would object to you simply enjoying the view. Such memories should be treasured. For now, however, the tour must go on. Our spectacle of sightseeing concludes with the fittingly named Journey's End. Walk down the stairs to the east and continue straight ahead. Over there. It looks like it. We arrived at Journey's End. History tells us that this was where those who put ashore with Archon and Yunkrep built their first homes. In the present day, it serves as the residential district for the most important officials and oldest Sharlayan families. You'll see that one mansion is clearly larger than its neighbors. It belongs to our friends from House Livier. All things considered, we should probably keep our distance for the time being. With that, we bring our little Sharlayan tour to a close. I hope it has proven to be an entertaining and enlightening experience. Now, shall we head directly to the Baldessian Annex? Remember the way, don't you, Raha? Let me think. We head down towards the harbor, cross the bridge to our right, and follow the path below the Aetheryte Plaza? Correct. After you, Ceres. Can't do any of that, I'll be honest. Where be? Wait, I didn't get that one. Wait. I did get this Aetheryte. Aether crystal. Oh my. Big. Damn. Tight. Right, we crossed the bridge here, as I recall. Stick to the path and be careful not to end up back in the Aetheryte Plaza. Sharlayan is full of educational and research institutions, but there are still professors who prefer to establish their own private practices. Not that I ever attended the exclusive schools they run in these residences. Perhaps the twins could tell you more about them. But yeah. Yep. See all the people up there. Oh, damn. Oh my god. Look at that. As the joyous look on Raha's face has undoubtedly informed you, this is the Baldassian Annex. You continue up the hill, you'll arrive on the doorstep of Phenomenon. I think we've explored enough for one day. I can take you there another time. Inside with you then. I'm back, and I brought Ceres and Raha with me. Ah, you were right about the ship then. Hello, Raha. It's nice to see you again. It's a pleasure to finally meet you, Ceres. I've heard many a tale of your exploits. Ojika Sunjika. In an age. Allow me to introduce Ojika Sunjika, Administrator Officer for the students of Baldassian. He oversees the day-to-day business of the Annex. Champion of Eorzea has featured prominently in Krell and Graha's report. But for me, this is akin to seeing a fabled hero come to life. It is an honor to make your acquaintance. This place is like a second home for the students. The Isle of Val has served our main headquarters, of course, but we often had occasion to visit Sharlayan. Whether to make use of the city's research facilities, attend conferences, or procure supplies from distant shores. The annex here was built to provide lodgings for our members while we engage in such activity. Ever since our former headquarters, along with the isle itself, vanished, the annex has served as our base of operations. Yet it feels so empty. With so many lost to us, our organization is a shell of its former self. Day will come when we will see the students rise again. But first, we must endure that the Lafroy fall. And sure, through that door on the left there is a main hall. There is the main hall, where we can discuss our options moving forward. Once everyone arrives, that is. Probably have time to rest before our discussions begin in earnest. I've had private quarters prepared for you in the Andron? Please, feel free to make yourself at home. Ah, the nap room's perfect for an afternoon doze. Oh, I didn't mean to give you the wrong impression. The chambers are quite well acquainted. Far more so than some cheap roadside inn. Maybe I shared. It's simply that we were often so busy with research, are exhausted from journeys abroad that we would slip in the Andron just to steal a few winks. Thus they became known amongst the students as nap rooms, even if many such naps might last well into the following morning. Say the word and I'll be happy to show you to your chamber. Hopefully the others won't be too long in coming. I'll wait for you in the main hall. That was a long name right there. Or a long task. Oh my god. Oh my. Jesus criminy. So many. Alright. Feeling refreshed and alert? Our colleagues should be wandering in soon, so I suggest we stay here and wait for them to join us.
Pray forgive me. I was delayed.
It's fine, Oriange. We're all here now.
Let's get down to business then, shall we? Come what may, we must prevent the Telophoroi's plans from coming to fruition. At present, I see two paths for gathering the information which may aid us in achieving that goal. The first involves an investigation into the change which has come over Sharlayan, not to mention the recent inscrutable behavior of the Forum. As most of you know, the 99 members of the Forum are elected from the general populace, This alone guarantees a plethora of opinion with regards to foreign policy. The bibliotheques, for example, are a group of conservatives which would have Sharlayan focus on recording history, while remaining entirely uninvolved in the making of it. And at the other extreme, we have advocates for proactive diplomacy and direct intervention. My grandfather Galef was one such member, as was Archon Louisois. Yet despite our diverse factions and philosophies, the recent vote to deny Eorzea's request for assistance was unanimous. Even more concerning was the fact that many cited other, more pressing duties as justification for their recalcitrance.
Fortuno's refusal in Gridania had those same undertones. 'Twas as if, having stared unblinking into the face of impending doom, it simply turned away to pursue something more important. But what could that possibly be?
A mystery indeed, and one which I ask for your help to solve. Our future may depend on it. As for our second potential path, it concerns a request made directly to the students of Baldesion. Our organization was founded primarily to study strange and unexplained phenomena the world over. Mysterious relics and ruins, arcane disturbances, and so forth. Compared to our more isolationist Sharlayan colleagues, we have strong connections overseas, namely with scholars and academics who share our passion for the unknown. The request in question comes from one such acquaintance, Nidana, an alchemist residing in distant Thavnair. Her missive describes the sudden appearance of a tower, and the subsequent summoning of what I can only assume is a lunar primal. In response to this threat, the satrap of Radzat-Han, the individual who governs the city-state, has instructed the alchemists to find a means to deal with the spire.
The artisans of that land are heirs to an ancient tradition, one rather unlike that of their Uldan counterparts. It is possible, nay, probable, that they have gleaned truths unattainable by Eorzea or her Far Eastern allies.
They do, in fact, appear to have a strategy in mind, though it will require further research. To that end, they have requested an introduction to a capable warrior shielded by the blessing of light.
Oh, is that me?
Assuming we divide our forces to pursue both of Kral's lines of inquiry, then having you join the group heading to Thavnair would seem the obvious choice. But the investigation in Sharlayan is of vital importance as well. Equal, I think, to the Thavnairian one, given that the fate of the world may hinge on the results of both.
Yes, it is quite the quandary. Though it is a great imposition and an altogether too common one, our efforts would be more likely to succeed were you to lead the charge on both fronts. You are indeed our champion. As to which task to tackle first, we will defer to your decision. Let us next decide how everyone else might best be assigned.
I got a lot on my plate.
As for myself, I shall continue what I've begun in Sharlayan. I should also like to steal the services of an Archon or two.
And thereby gain access to a greater range of reading material. I will help with that.
Allow me to offer my assistance. I have some small amount of experience in the field of research.
Alize and I would also like to help, if you would have us.
Anything to understand even a fraction of what our father and the Forum might be thinking.
Of course, the more the merrier.
Right. The rest of us will make the journey to Thavnair. Thoughts? Objections?
I passed through Thavnair on my way to infiltrate the Empire, and though I'm not qualified to give a guided tour, I did gain a sense of where things lie.
I'll be happy to have you along then. So for this group, it will be you, me, and Urianger.
Give me a moment afterwards, and I'll supply you with all the details of Nadana's request. Consider this hall our rendezvous point once our respective tasks are complete. May our investigations prove fruitful.
Bow. Bow, bow, bow. Alright, so I guess I could choose to stay in Sharlayan or go to Thavnir.